I'm Dr. Chantel Frazier. I'm the founder of the Healthy Scholars Community and also the founder and CEO of Anansi Research. So let's get into it. Most people wouldn't recommend that you start a program by making an enemy. Well, I absolutely recommend it. Perfectionism is your enemy as you start a program, as you start a position, as you engage in any sort of activity that is going to raise your profile and improve your career and success as a researcher, scholar, or academic. So, why is perfectionism your enemy? I'm so glad you asked. Perfectionism is your enemy because it will rob you of three things. It will rob you of time. You will spend so much time on things that you don't need to be spending that much time on. You need to be maximizing your time so that you can get things done, be productive, and also take space to take care of yourself as a human. Number two, perfectionism will rob you of opportunities. You will miss deadlines. You will not have enough time to complete things. You will not be able to shoot your shot because you don't have the space to give yourself enough time to produce a product that can see the light of day. If you keep working and working and working on something, it never gets out there. Your ideas never get out there. They never get shared. They never benefit the world and they never benefit you. So it will rob you of those opportunities. And this is a big one. Three, peace of mind. Perfectionism will rob you of peace of mind. If you are constantly questioning yourself, constantly anxious about whether or not your product is good enough, then those wheels spinning, that stress, that causes physiological reactions in your body. It can interfere with your ability to sleep. It can interfere with your ability to focus on anything. It can interfere with your ability to take time away without guilting yourself. Oh, I should really be working on such and such. It's not done yet. It's not done yet. You don't want to do that to yourself. But I think that we know what perfectionism is, but let's talk about it anyway. Perfectionism is the idea that you have to have every little detail in place, every I dotted, every T crossed, no errors, no overlooked citations before you present anything to an external audience. Now, what a lot of people won't tell you is that, especially as a Black woman or a member of another marginalized population, like a member of the LGBT community or someone with a disability, we often put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be perfect. And in fact, we've gotten as far as we have gotten and have been as successful as we have been by engaging in perfectionist activities, by making sure that when we go up to speak to a professor or talk to a teacher, we have both questions and potential solutions in play. By when we show up at work or early is on time, that we are, the smartest, the most informed, have the most receipts, have the most references and citations, have the most knowledge about what we are going to say before we say it, that we have a solution in place before we ask about a problem. We've been taught our whole lives, so that's the only way that we can succeed. And yes, it has sunk into our bones and into our habits, but that is something that does not serve you in an academic or research role. In fact, research is more often than not a team sport. Think about every paper you've ever written. It's had a literature review, right? You had to go and see what other people did about this, what questions they asked, what books they read, who's citing what sources. Is that study too old? Is there one that has been updated? You, in fact, stand on the shoulders of millions of giants. And that's the only way you're going to move forward is with a team. So you need to make sure that your work is in a presentable place, but it doesn't have to be perfect before you show it to other people, before you bounce ideas off of others. Brainstorming itself is often a very difficult activity for us as perfectionists because you want every thought to be perfectly formulated before it comes out of your mouth. And that doesn't work. That's not how innovation works. That's not how that's not how solving problems in the real world actually works. You try a few things, they don't work. You go back to the drawing board, you try a few more. That's usually how it goes. So I would say making perfectionism your enemy, not only for us, but especially for us, is the way that you move forward. So some ways to do that. One, having boundaries in place, boundaries around time, boundaries around effort, not boundaries around the place in which the product, paper, conference presentation will be before you show it to someone else. No, work on it for an hour. Say, I'm going to work on this for an hour, or I'm going to work on this for 2 hours. And then my next step is to show it to really close colleague or friend, or try to explain what I'm doing to my mom. My mentor had this rule, and I think it's a really good one. The mom rule. If you can't explain what you're doing to your mom, then you don't understand it. You need to go back to the drawing board, figure it out in a way that you can communicate it to people who essentially are outside of your field, outside of your area of expertise. Because if you can get the technical language down and the message outside of the technical language, then you've achieved mastery. So, besides those boundaries, you're going to embrace good enough. You're going to learn what good enough looks like. This is something that can only be done with practice and can only be done in community. So, my third tip, find and utilize your community. You have other people in your cohort, you have other people in your department, there are other professors in your field of study, even outside of your institution, maybe outside of your country, who are doing similar things to you. Reach out to people. They probably want to help you. And if they can't help you, they might know someone who can. If you are applying for a grant, you are not the only person who has ever applied for that grant. Reach out to someone who's done it before or someone who knows someone who has done it before and utilize their brain, utilize those connections. And if you don't have those connections, a good way to help build them is to join the Healthy Scholars community, where we are not only a network ourselves, but help you network and connect with like-minded folks so that you can succeed. So that's all for today. I would say make perfectionism your enemy. Go up against it, not with it. Leave it behind so that you can succeed. All right, that's it for this one.